The main stories here
Not
on Al
definite, of course, that these trials will actually go.
From the world to your phone. Al Jazeera Mobile.
You're watching Al Jazeera's extended coverage of the ongoing turmoil in Egypt. A reminder of the latest developments. There are reports that Egypt's biggest and most prominent party, the Muslim Brotherhood, will begin talks to end the crisis with Vice President Omar Suleiman. We haven't been able to confirm the reports. The opposition had previously rejected all dialogue until President Mubarak had stepped down. President Mubarak's son Gamal and the rest of the top brass of Egypt's ruling National Democratic Party have all resigned. The US says its priority is for a peaceful and orderly transition of power. The man Obama sent to meet Mubarak said his leadership was crucial during the changes, but the White House now says that Frank Wisner was speaking for himself. Well, how are the latest developments in and outside Egypt playing out on the internet? Here's Stephanie with a look at that from our Egypt desk. Stephanie.
Thanks, So. Well, Sunday will be the 13th day of protests in Egypt, calling for President Hosni Mubarak to leave office. And the demos have garnered support from people across the world, as well as across the political and religious spectrum. Sandwich Board writes, yesterday in Cairo, Christian protesters made a human chain around praying Muslims. Beautiful. And Hadaway Jane says, I don't care if you're Buddhist, Christian or Muslim, say a prayer for the people in Cairo. There are calls for people to attend Christian Sunday services in Cairo. Irene Fanos announces 1 p.m. Tahrir Square, Cairo, Christian prayer and meeting. Pray together for Egypt, all in love and peace. Al Jazeera, of course, will be monitoring events in Egypt throughout the night and into Sunday morning. But if you see or hear anything, we'd love to hear about it. If you've got video or images of events inside Egypt, you can send them to our Your Media site. The address for that is yourmedia.aljazeera.net. And, of course, you can get the latest news and analysis on Egypt through our website. The address is www.aljazeera.net/English. You can also follow our live blog, where you can watch the latest videos and get updates throughout the day. And that's all for now, So back to you.
Thanks very much, Stephanie. Well, the web is a central forum for discussion and dissent in Egypt. That's why when the uprising began nearly 2 weeks ago, there was a total near-internet blackout. But exactly how was access cut off? Well, an American adversary group called Free Press says it's uncovered a link to a California-based technology company which allegedly sold the Egyptian government equipment, allowing it to track internet activity. Rob Reynolds has the story.
When Egyptian authorities shut down internet access in an effort to stifle growing anti-government protests, their actions were condemned worldwide, including by U.S. President Barack Obama. But a U.S. company is working with Egypt's state telecommunications agency, selling its sophisticated tools for spying and controlling web users. Naris, located in Sunnyvale, California, provided Telecom Egypt with a monitoring tool called Deep Packet Inspection. Tim Carr heads the media reform organization, Free Press.
Deep packet inspection sits on routers around internet networks, and it allows them to sift through, to filter, to surveil internet communications.
DPI permits governments to know which of its citizens is posting criticisms or organizing protests through Twitter and Facebook. It can also track cell phone users.
With some cell phone systems, you can actually geolocate the person that is tweeting via their cell phone, for example, and track them down. So it has various dangerous applications.
Naris, which is owned by the aircraft maker and weapons contractor Boeing, refused to return Al Jazeera's calls and emails. So we went to see them in person.
Rob Reynolds, I'm a reporter with Al Jazeera English. I'm here to see if I could speak to executives about your sales of technology to Egypt.
Only thing to say is no comment. Nobody is talking to the media.
The secretive company has also sold technology to Saudi Telecom, Kuwaiti Wataniya Telecom, and India's largest broadband provider, Sci-Fi. Internet spying is generally illegal in the U.S. Narus is one of several companies that sell internet tracking and spying technology. But there are no laws or regulations to govern the use and sale of these powerful tools. Carr says more transparency and oversight are needed.
We've been calling for a more thorough investigation of the uses and abuses of this technology. We hope here in the United States that Congress will investigate.
For now, though, protesters and critics of governments around the world should know Big Brother is watching. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Sunnyvale, California.
Well, let's go over now to Zoe Cummings for all of the sports action.
3 Pakistan cricketers have been found guilty of corruption following a hearing in Doha. Salman Butt, Mohammad Asif and Mohammad Amir were charged with conspiring to bowl no balls at pre-arranged times during a test match against England last year. All 3 were banned for a minimum of 5 years, as Raul Pathak reports from Doha.
Well, there were chaotic, almost jubilant scenes outside the Qatar Financial Centre as the 3 players involved attempted to leave earlier today following Saturday's decision. All 3 players essentially have been banned for 5 years each, but there's a real feeling here that the punishment handed down by Michael Beloff QC and his 2 colleagues could have been a lot more harsh.
The tribunal has recommended to the ICC certain changes to the code with a view to providing flexibility in relation to minimum sentences in exceptional circumstances.
Well, as for the players themselves, all 3 are said to be very disappointed with the decision, and Mohammad Amir, for one, has confirmed that he will instruct his lawyers to go ahead with an appeal. That will be heard by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Well, the next big date for the players is March the 17th. That's when they'll appear before Westminster magistrates in London. They'll be accused of accepting and obtaining corrupt payments. Now, that carries a maximum jail term of 7 years, an extremely serious charge there. But as for the International Cricket Council, well, does this punishment that was handed out today really send out the strong message that they were looking for at the beginning of this tribunal? Well, I think the jury's still very much out on that. Rahul Pathak, Al Jazeera, Doha.
To football now, and in the English Premier League, leaders Manchester United have been beaten for the first time this season. They lost 2-1 to bottom-of-the-table Wolves. While title rivals Arsenal were held to a dramatic 4-4 draw at Newcastle. It looked like they were cruising to an easy victory, but Newcastle came back from 4 down to take a share of the points. 4 goals from Louis Saha helped Everton to a 5-3 win over Blackpool. A first-half hat-trick from Carlos Tevez saw Manchester City end a 3-game winless streak to cement their claim on 3rd. And Wigan clawed their way out of the relegation zone with a 4-3 win over Blackburn. In Spain, Espanyol missed the chance to boost their hopes of a European spot. They were beaten 3-2 at Almeria. Almeria got off to a flying start. 3 goals in the first 20 minutes left Espanyol with their work cut out. Marcelo Silva there, heading them ahead. And Caluche added a second for Almeria just 2 minutes later. 10 minutes gone, 2 up. And it got better. Barnadello managed to be both defender and keeper for Almeria's 3rd. Espanyol pulled 1 back just before half-time, and Alvaro Vasquez added another just after the break. Final score, 3-2. Meanwhile, Real Madrid will be looking to close the gap on leaders Barcelona when they take on Real Sociedad on Sunday. Real seem to have been a bit out of sorts in the league recently, but coach Jose Mourinho will be hoping their midweek success in the Copa del Rey will boost their performance. And he's taking nothing for granted against promoted Sociedad.
It's one of my favorite teams in the league. I like very much the way they play. We had a very difficult match in San Sebastian. We won. We didn't deserve so much, not because we didn't play well, but because the opponent played very well. And this is the kind of team that is really dangerous.
A late charge from Thomas Bjorn has taken him to the top of the leaderboard at golf's Qatar Masters. 4 birdies in the last 5 holes left the Dane 1 shot clear of his nearest rival. He wasn't the only one working hard at the course in Doha on Saturday, as world #1 Lee Westwood tried to iron out the problems that saw him miss the cut. Joanna Gaisharoska reports.
He toiled for 2 days in windy conditions, but the world #1 Lee Westwood was left out on Saturday having missed the cut at the Qatar Masters. Instead, the Englishman worked hard on the range, shaking off what he called the early season rust. He also missed out on perfect conditions during round 3. Former champion Alvaro Quiros took advantage of warm and calm weather, the Spaniard shooting a round of 6 under par to move into tie for 5th.
If I win here again in Qatar, I think I will be the second winner to win it twice after Adam Scott. So it's a good signal. But at the same time, I'm conscious that it's not going to be in my hands tomorrow. The leaders are playing well. They're going to have a